All right, hey everyone, Jeff here at StopThePirates.blogspot.com. I'm back after 2 weeks. I got the second community guidelines strike. One more, they'll terminate my channel completely, so I have to keep it very, very clean. And so I can't even use swear words anymore. It's kind of a double-edged sword when you monetize your channel, which I didn't do for 12 years. And you get a lot more views, but they're very strict on what you can say, like swear words and things. So you just keep it clean, it doesn't matter. What I wanted to talk about today is criminal law. There are no criminal laws in America because criminal laws would imply that the corporate United States government is a sovereign that has absolute power over all living flesh and blood Americans, which of course is not true because a corporation is a fiction and therefore cannot be a sovereign. Man is a sovereign and is in control of his own destiny. And one day he will awake and realize this to be true. And I keep telling people, stop doing business with this criminal corporation called the United States, this foreign corporation. Stop signing up for their little program. Stop admitting to be a US citizen, which is a debt slave. Stop voting in their elections, which are completely fraudulent, obviously. You don't have to, and I choose not to. My life's been 100% better. There are, however, criminal contracts being enforced against the people that are U.S. citizens with their consent, which are surreptitiously called criminal statutes. Their consent has been obtained by them vis-a-vis our silence and failure to act or protest, which under law is defined as tacit procuration. Tacit procuration, if someone accuses you of a theft in writing and you fail to respond or deny those allegations in writing, your failure to deny or act is considered an admission of guilt. Like if I walk up to you and say, I'm going to punch you in the face, and you don't say anything, you just stand there. Hey man, I give you a fair warning. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that's how the IRS operates through adhesion contracts and through administrative processes. They just send you a bill for a one-line bill for this amount. You're like, well, what's this for? What am I paying for? What's the money for? Where does it go? What do I get in return? Nothing. You get nothing. You don't even get represented in the so-called Congress. They don't ask you if you want all this stuff. They just do it. I mean, unless you're a high-priced lobbyist, you get no action in Congress from the corporation. You're just a debt slave. So you receive a bill for goods or services that you never ordered or received, and you fail to deny those allegations, your omission represents the truth of the matter, which imposes an obligation to pay. Collection companies frequently use this tacit procuration to establish indebtedness to them on a discharged debt that they had purchased from some other corporate business. That's how they do it. So you're thinking no criminal laws? Well, that can't be true. A whole lot of people on the U.S. slave plantation are in prison. Probably you have 5% of the world's population, 25% of the world's prison population is in the United States because it's a huge, big business. These big corporations that build these prisons lobby Congress to keep them filled. They have to, by law, because these are public traded companies and they have to do everything in their power to turn a profit, or they're in breach. And we're going to get into why this is happening. People are in jail because they unknowingly accepted the criminal contract on behalf of their birth certificate and consented to be imprisoned as a condition of their conviction and punishment. You always have to agree to all this through the whole thing. If you've ever been to jail, you have to sign at the end. You're agreeing to okay, you got me, I guess. For your conviction and punishment. The lawyer didn't help any because he reinforced that situation by and through his notice of appearance to represent you. It is the birth certificate that is under arrest, which we'll explain here moving forward. Criminal contracts are graded according to a severity of the crime. alleged, and that grading is identified as either summary, misdemeanor, felony, or capital offenses. The criminal process usually begins with a police officer issuing a citation or making an arrest with or without a warrant, or the police officer or a county attorney prepares a complaint based upon a sworn affidavit or an information which is presented to a judge, and a warrant is then issued. The defendant is subsequently arrested and brought before the judge for an arraignment. The complaint and the warrant will reflect the birth name in all capital letters or identify you as John Doe if your name is unknown, which is typed out in all capital letters. This is not a mistake on their part because it is your birth certificate that is under arrest and not your living flesh and blood person. The hope of this pseudo courts is that the flesh and blood person will be intimidated enough to accept responsibility for the birth certificate. It sounds crazy, but nothing is really what it seems. It's all smoke and mirrors. Most police officers do not know or have these details and believe in what they're doing, and believe that the lawyers who counsel them in law like they are gods. It's a big mistake because on their part, because just like everyone else, they too have been vigorously lied to and brainwashed. You can't trust lawyers to be inherently honest. Police officers are instructed to always print or type a defendant's name in all capital letters, but they are never told the reason why. As a precaution, you should always carry a copy of your birth certificate with you as part of your identification papers, which I'll explain here. At your arraignment or trial, if you are unlucky enough to be brought before one of these pirate ships in dry dock, the judge will ask you if you're the named individual, all capital letters name on the complaint, and your natural response will be to answer in the affirmative. But that's exactly what they want you to do. Remove your birth certificate and respond to him stating, "I am making a special limited appearance on behalf of the defendant who is right here," and hold up your birth certificate. Then state the following: "As I understand the process, Judge, the county attorney or police officer has leveled a criminal charge with the clerk and against the trust using the all caps name that appears on the birth certificate. The use of capital letters is dictated by the U.S. Printing Style Manual, which explains how to identify a corporation. The clerk, who is the administrator of the Sustakay Trust, then appointed you, Judge, as the trustee of the trust, and since neither of you can be the beneficiary, that leaves me, and therefore you are my trustee. So as my trustee, I instruct you to discharge this entire matter with prejudice and award the penalties for these crimes to be paid to me in compensation and damages for my false arrest." And note that the law of trust dictates that an administrator, trustee, and beneficiary cannot serve two positions in a trust. So the trustee cannot be a beneficiary too. The trustee judge has no alternative but to honor your demands, but you have to get this right and act with confidence. Very important. You really need to know this information well, so that you can't be hoodwinked or confused by either of them. And they'll do anything to intimidate you and pressure you into going along with them, like bringing in sheriff's deputies behind you with guns and handcuffing you, and they'll push it all the way to the limit. This is not legal or tax advice, by the way. This is just for my own personal edification. So that you can't be hoodwinked or confused by either of them. They will or may attempt to play some of their mind games with you if you display any doubt, stammer, or display any lack of confidence. So you got to be very confident about what you're doing. Anyway, some more information on this I'll get into another video, but just leave this here. If I didn't use any cuss words there, I don't think I did. How many people bought Pirate Chain when I told you to my last video a couple of weeks ago? I went from 60 cents up to $16, and it kind of leveled off now around $7 or $8 is where it's at right now. Made a lot of money, a lot of money. And it's a complete privacy coin, just like Monero. It's actually better than Monero, but I like Monero too, and Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin is it's completely, it's not anonymous anymore. I mean, they can track every movement of it. it's still good to have digital gold. But anyway, please like, share, and subscribe the video, and share it if you want. And thanks for watching. Go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com.